Welcome back, Real Dealies. It's the penultimate episode of the season.
That's right. Sadly, our reign as hosts is coming to an end.
You know, I just realized that the Real Deal has a high turnover rate for hosts.
Speaking of that, what happened to the old host?
Oh, you mean Logan Sowash and Madeline May? Logan was brutally murdered by Louis Weissman with juicy juice.
Paddington 2, Paddington 2, Paddington 2.
Are you okay?
Yeah, it's just how I cope with stress.
While Angelo deals with the fear of his inevitable demise, from Ball State University, the Real Deal starts now.
Paddington 2. Welcome everyone to another debonair episode of The Real Deal, Ball State's premier entertainment news show. I'm Angelo Oriema.
More like dab on air.
No, okay. Yep.
Oh, and I'm Eli Brensman. This week we have Shelby Deal with the trailer watch, Rob Segovia with the music review, big surprise there, and a whole lot more. So, how are you feeling? You ready to die next week?
Die? Who's going to be me who dies? With your history as a spy and a hacker extraordinaire, I think you're more likely to die than me.
Well, you're so fragile, you got beat up by a 12-year-old boy.
Well, at least I can do an accent.
What do you mean I can't do an accent? Look how good I'm doing.
Eli, that was a Westminster Scottish accent. You should know better.
I know better than to watch Amy Schumer.
Well, okay, that's fair. Speaking of that, here's Shelby Trailer with a trailer watch. I said Shelby Trailer, I meant Shelby Deal. Trailer watch, Shelby, take it away.
Guys, can you believe it? School is almost done with, which means summer is almost here. This means soon I'll have all the time in the world to see as many movies as my movie-loving heart desires. So I'm going to celebrate that little fact by reviewing a couple of trailers that caught my eye. The first movie is I Feel Pretty, starring Amy Schumer. I know what you guys are thinking. Amy Schumer, she's at best as an overall person, but the underlying premise of this movie is too good to pass up. The movie centers on a girl who struggles with her own lack of self-esteem and the issue of feeling inadequate. There's not a person on the planet, let alone a woman, who has not gone through this struggle. Anyway, she falls and bumps her head, suddenly believing her appearance has changed and that she is the most gorgeous person in the world. Obviously, she is super confident about herself and goes after whatever she wants. The best part about this trailer is how it addresses the very real problems that girls face when trying to live up to the beauty standards imposed by today's society, while also doing it in Amy Schumer's very specific brand of humor. One scene in the trailer shows Amy Schumer's character talking to her friend about how tired she is of online dating sites because people do not even focus on the profile, they focus on the profile picture, pointing out the focus society has on looks. Another scene in the trailer that is funny, yet sad at the same time, is right after she bumps her head at a workout facility. She looks in the mirror along with the worker, exclaiming how pretty she is. The worker just looks at her oddly because that much confidence is not expected by women who don't live up to the typical standards of beauty, which is ironically funny compared to Schumer's excitement. The movie comes out April 20th, and I will definitely go see it, and you should all too. The second movie is Life of a Party, which stars Melissa McCarthy. I'm excited about that because I miss her, and even though her movies are not that great most of the time, there's still something charming about her. Going along with the theme of girl power, Melissa McCarthy's character decides to go finish her degree at the same college her daughter is at after her husband suddenly dumps her. Obviously, this would seem to pose many hilarious, probably awkward problems, and the trailer showcases the moments very well. The movie is packed with typical McCarthy physical comedy, especially in the scene where she gathers all of her husband's things and throws them in a trash can outside. She then takes some of her husband's booze and pours it all over it and lights it on fire. It explodes a bit and she is knocked back, which got a chuckle out of me. Another funny moment is when her daughter is giving her a makeover before going to a party. Melissa looks herself in the mirror practicing a conversation she might have with a guy saying, "No, I'm not 20, I'm actually 21. Despite her makeover, she is so very clearly not 21, but that's what makes it funny. The movie comes out May 11th, and I plan on seeing it. The next movie is Traffic, and it's just a little bit more serious than the previous two movies. The story centers on a couple on a romantic weekend in a remote East state. The couple goes into town where they're confronted with a dangerous biker gang. The woman, Bree, runs into a woman who seems to be a victim of human trafficking and somehow ends up with her phone. Later on, the biker gang begins to terrorize them. This movie seems to be a thriller mixed with a little bit of horror. The best part of this trailer is that it gets the suspense across very well. The music that is played throughout the trailer makes you immediately tense up, even when the trailer shows the normal moments before diving with the horrific moments. You immediately know something is not quite right. A standout scene in the trailer is when the phone rings and there's a knock at the door. It is the girl from the gas station, and she looks a little crazy asking for her phone back. Bree just wants to help her, but the woman becomes more erratic and scared, saying, "They're going to kill you." The scene made the little hairs on my arm stand up. The movie comes out April 20th, and I definitely want to see this movie. I'm Shelby Dale, and thank you for letting me talk about movies.
Thanks, Shelby.
You know, I'll be first in line to see Traffic. I have always wanted to join the Caramel Curves, by far my favorite all-girls a cappella biker gang.
How many all-girl a cappella groups are you in?
I believe I'm in 6, actually. There's the female falsettos, the acapellas, of course, the Sing Song Sisters, the Wu-Tang Clan, the Insane Clown Posse, Harmonious Hannahs, and the Blue Man Group.
First off, that was 7. Also, I don't think some of those groups you should even be associating with.
That's true. You know, I mean, I get what you mean. Okay, I mean, the Blue Man Group is pretty hardcore.
Well, we blew that out of proportion while we bring it back. Here's Rob Segovia talking about Saba.
What is this show?
Listen to me, it's unlikely that he will garner the first week sales and certifications. Big name publications are going to let this slip away. The award shows won't even recognize his raw talent to give him well-deserved accolades. Today we'll dive into the world of Saba, the two of us connected by North Avenue. Saba grew up in the Austin neighborhood of Chicago, west of my Lincoln Park home. He skipped 2 grades in his elementary school and graduated from St. Joseph's High School at the age of 16 with a 3.5 GPA, where one of his favorite extracurricular activities was passing out mixtapes in the hallways. Like most young artists looking for a platform to share songs or poetry, Saba performed after school at Young Chicago Authors in the Wicker Park neighborhood, right off the Blue Line and a quick walk to Division Street. The rapper and producer made a name for himself with guest appearances on 2 Chance the Rapper songs, Everybody's Something off of Acid Rap and Angels on Coloring Book. After getting relaxed in his element with the 2 mixtapes Get Comfortable in 2013 and Comfort Zone in 2014, Saba performed Angels with Chance on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert in 2015 before focusing on marking his territory in the game. And in 2016, he would release his debut album Bucket List Project, focused on his background and morals, featuring Chicago artists No Name, Twista, and John Doe. But in 2017, the momentum stopped, the curtains closed, and emotions poured. Saba's cousin and co-founder of his rap crew, Walter Long Jr., was murdered and prompted the Chicago MC to put a pause on his career to heal the wound. When Saba came back, he arrived with Care For Me, his second studio album and an ode to who he lost and what he found. The 10-track project is an exploration of life and one's feeling of invincibility until the realization that we live in the real world. We don't live forever. So we must cherish each moment we have. A few of my friends are gone too early, and it hurts to know they're not there. To be young, we think ahead with ambition and fly high on our next big adventure. But when I think of the bright future they never had the chance to see, I begin to wonder what plans this life has for me. In the age of social media and the internet, Saba locked himself away from everyone and was able to craft an honest outpouring of his depression and misery, while effectively using storytelling and somber production to paint the picture of how he feels. As death hits close to home, it's hard to know who to talk to, what to say, when to open up, where to start picking up the pieces, why it happened, and how to move forward. The album is filled with amazing songs, not just with the flows and rhymes that impress the listener, but deep messages that beg to be replayed and dissected. Highlights include Life, which features Saba with his strong, tight lyricism that is also impactful. Log Out features Chance the Rapper with his best verse since his acid rap days. And the best listen on Care For Me is Prom King. The first time I listened to it, I cried at the powerful story of Saba's relationship with his cousin and the story leading to his death. I mean, it's definitely one of the best hip-hop songs I've heard in a while. Please listen to Saba's Care For Me. It's simply a masterpiece. For The Real Deal, I'm Rob Segovia.
Thanks, Rob. Well, that was special. I can't help it. The Blue Man Group is just still on my mind.
Can you please let it go, Angelo?
I can't help it, Eli. They rejected me for the audition. See, I painted myself a nice robin's egg blue, but they ridiculously used HTML code 3E6AD7 on their faces. They took it as a sign of sacrilege because I used 3E8AD9. I really blew it, Eli.
Did you just steal my pun?
Yeah, I really blew it.
Stop! We've reached our 3E6AD7 quota for the day.
Well, too bad. I'm on 3E8AD9.
We'll be right back after this break.
Hey, Eli, do you have any jobs open for me? Since the Blue Man Group didn't want me, I really need money. As, you know, since I'm the baby daddy for Kyle and we're young and hungry. I mean, we're just two broke girls out here.
Are you saying you're the baby daddy to Kyle?
That is exactly what I'm saying, yes. In fact, I am the baby daddy for everyone at The Real Deal.
Well, that's as good of a transition as we can get. Here's Abby Perry. Abby?
There are so many shows out there that have risen to popularity. Most of those shows have the most memorable characters, but others have the least memorable characters. We get sucked in by the stories and the plot twists, but somehow there are shows that have the worst characters and the worst acting. In this segment, I will give you 3 shows that are entertaining, but they have iffy acting. These are in no particular order. Number 1 is Baby Daddy. Oh my. The acting in this show is either really bad or they want us to think that they just are normally unable to perform normal emotions. The concept is a guy that gets a baby left on his doorstep by the mom. A one-night stand left this man's whole life crazy. There are love triangles and a lot of other focuses that don't really involve the baby. The acting is not good, but when I watched the whole series, I was watching to see if couples would finally make it or if other plots were met. While I was content with the ending, I was not with the acting. The next show is Young and Hungry. This one is hard for me because I love Emily Osment, but her co-stars just didn't cut it in my opinion. The only characters that really make me feel this way are the maid and the publicist. They are way too over the top with their characters, and maybe that's intended, but I certainly didn't watch the show for them. The show is about a girl that lands a job as a chef for a rich guy that turns into a love interest. Things get weird. I love the show, but there are still characters that I decide to skip over when they come on the screen. Finally, I have 2 broke girls. I honestly don't know how this show is so popular. The acting is so bad in my opinion, and the characterization is way too over the top. The concept is a rich girl that gets turned poor and becomes friends with another poor girl. They are so different and they hate each other, but it's not believable at all. That being said, as the viewers, we're drawn in to see what ridiculous stuff they'll get into next. So what does this mean? Does this mean that we watch a show for the acting? My whole life, that's what I've thought. I thought that the acting is what makes or breaks a show. But I'm starting to see things differently. I'm starting to see that shows have been successful just based on the plot. The actors don't have to be good to make the show enjoyable. All 3 of these shows have terrible acting, but interesting plots, and therefore they have a strong viewership. I hope this gives you guys something to think about. I'm Abby Perry.
Thank you, Abby. My family appreciates you.
Hey, Angelo. Truth or dare?
Truth.
Who do you think is going to murder you?
I'd have to say Brandon. He is a soulless, overweight monster from the depths of the underworld.
He's just a little misunderstood ginger teddy bear.
He is the devil, Eli. He's got a pilgrim sidekick out there for crying out loud.
You mean your other broke girl?
Exactly. Take it away, Josie.
Truth or Dare, a fun kids game where secrets are spilled and friends are humiliated. And just sometimes, if you play in an old condemned church in Mexico, the game will get possessed and could kill you. At least that was the premise of Blumhouse Productions' Truth or Dare. Now, going into this movie, I couldn't tell if this was going to be a really good movie or really bad. And believe me, it was really bad. In this movie, a group of friends find themselves in a deadly game of Truth or Dare. The rules are simple. Tell the truth or you die. Do the dare or you die. Refuse to play and, you guessed it, you die. It's an interesting idea to see what level of humiliation and what morals would be broken to save your own life, but this movie takes this idea way too far. All the dares are just reckless challenges for the player that either endangers their own life or the life of somebody else. Too many of these dares involved shooting someone with a gun. It got really boring and repetitious. The truths weren't any better. They were all somehow very personal to the characters, and you pretty much knew what was going to happen next. There were way too many scenes of the main characters who were so-called best friends just fighting and storming out of the room after revealing their darkest secrets. The truths were mainly just used to add more unnecessary drama into an already painstakingly dramatic movie. The rules of the game also got worse as the movie went on. It would be too easy if every player was just able to pick truth. No one would die a gruesome death. So there was a rule added that only 2 people in a row could pick truth before the next person had to pick a dare. This just led to even more unnecessary dramatic tension between the group of so-called friends, because now only a few people could be safe and pick truth. And you would think this would be a big problem, but most members of the group didn't even want to pick truth anyway. Why? Because most of these characters were terrible people who kept horrible secrets from their friends. The characters had no characterization and were unlikable. The movie expected me to care about a guy who gave out fake prescriptions, was overall a jerk to his friends getting into med school, or about a girl losing her boyfriend even though she had been cheating on him for years, or how about a guy who had been dating that girl for years but wants to sleep with her best friend because he kind of has feelings for her, but he also loves his girlfriend and just can't decide? Did these people deserve to die? No, but am I gonna cry about it? No. The only 2 decent characters ended up dying for reasons not even really related to the game. Also, the 2 main characters, Olivia and Marky, who had been best friends since high school, were just kind of awkward and not believable. I mean, what kind of best friend decides to hack their friend's computer and cancel their volunteer trip with Habitat for Humanity that they had been planning for months so they could go spend all their money in Mexico? However, the characters weren't the worst part of this movie. The attempts at this movie made to be a horror film were just bad and not scary. It ended up being a thriller with lots of jump scares and just really gross scenes with lots of blood. Not trying to give too much away, but one character literally has to cut out his own tongue. And then to top it all off, the film just kind of ends with no conclusion really whatsoever. It makes the main character dislikable. In truth, I cannot recommend this movie, and the only way that you should see this is if someone dared you to. That's all I got for you. I'm Josie Underhill.
Thanks, Josie.
It's that time again for our shameless plug. This week we got Madison McGill talking about dead things, Tyler Landis talking about Yeji, and Noah Bullard writes a segment about his uncles in Trailer Park Boys Season 12.
We'll be right back.
There's a new season of Trailer Park Boys on Netflix, and I've already watched the entire thing. It's a masterpiece. Following the death of longtime cast member John Dunsworth, known to fans as Mr. Leahy, the producers of the cult Canadian mockumentary decided to go ahead and release another season of the show.
A few months ago, I was pulled from the dark depths of musical depression by a new mysterious force known as Yeji. With a voice that's sweet yet spooky and instrumental beats that need to be heard by everyone who loves to shake their stuff, she is ready to show you what she is made of.
Warning, there are spoilers ahead. Sunday night's The Walking Dead aired its Season 8 finale, and let me tell you, basically this episode was whose ambush is the better ambush. Is it Negan's? Is it Rick's? It's the zombie apocalypse. Why are humans fighting humans while brainless corpses are taking over the world?
We need to stop the presses for a second. There is a brilliant pun in the next segment that needs to be addressed.
What are you talking about? It's just about Isle of Dogs.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Say it. Say it over and over again.
Isle of Dogs, Isle of Dogs, Isle of Dogs, Isle of... Oh! Brain blast. It's I love dogs.
Exactly. We all love dogs here at The Real Deal. Let's see if Nathan loves this movie as much as he loves dogs. Nathan?
After talking your ears off about the greatness of Steven Spielberg for the last several times I've been on here, today I'm going to talk about another director I love, and that is Wes Anderson, in his latest film, Isle of Dogs. Isle of Dogs is a stop-motion animated movie that is set in a not-so-distant dystopian future in the fictional Japanese city of Megasaki, where its corrupt totalitarian mayor, Kobayashi, has banished all dogs to a trash island. The film follows Mayor Kobayashi's 12-year-old nephew, Akira, as he crash lands on the island in search of his dog Spots. A couple of dogs, led by Chief, voiced by Bryan Cranston, help him on his journey to find his missing friend. As a big fan of Wes Anderson and being a dog person, I fell in love with Isle of Dogs. Everything from Wes Anderson's trademark humor and style, the use of stop-motion animation, the voice cast, and Alexander Desplat's score is just done so perfectly. This is probably the best use of stop-motion animation I've seen. The scenery and locations are absolutely beautiful. Anderson has always had a strong attention to detail, and that's something that's clear here. Nothing about the technical aspects feels lazy. The amount of effort put into this film is clear. Everyone in the voice cast is perfect in their roles. Bryan Cranston is a delight as a gruff Chief. Scarlett Johansson shines as Nutmeg. Liev Schreiber and Edward Norton are equally great as Spots and Chief. Though talents like Bill Murray, Jeff Goldblum, Tilda Swinton, and Frances McDormand, while they shine, they ultimately are wasted and not given that much dialogue. The only character that I really didn't care for was Greta Gerwig's Tracy, a human teenager who's pro-dog and leads a rebellion against the government. Her entire subplot wasn't nearly as interesting as the main plot revolving around Akira and Chief, and their search for spots. Alexander Desplat's score is some of his best work, and really added to the film's atmosphere as well as its scope. While it might not be apparent from his other films, it's clear that Wes Anderson really understands that special bond we share with our fuzzy friends. And I did care about the relationship between Akira and the dogs of Trash Island. Anderson's trademark symmetrical filmmaking is definitely present here, and so is his quirky and offbeat humor. While it may not have been as funny as some of Anderson's other films, such as The Fantastic Mr. Fox or The Grand Budapest Hotel, there are certainly some great moments here. Overall, Isle of Dogs is yet another strong installment in Wes Anderson's filmography. It's his love letter to our best friends, and as soon as the film was over, all I wanted to do was to go home and play with both my dogs. I'm giving Isle of Dogs a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Until next time, I'm Nathan Richard.
Thank you, Nathan. This might be the penultimate episode of our lives.
That's right. Soon we'll be shipped off to Trash Island or whatever to live out the rest of our lives with a bunch of dogs voiced by famous celebrities.
I hope you realize the movie's not real.
But what is real is your impending death, Brunsman.
Are you threatening me? You know I can beat you up.
I feel like if I say it over and over again, it'll come true. That's
You're incorrigible.
Okay, well, I will meet John Stamos. I will meet John Stamos. I will meet John Stamos. I will meet John Stamos.
How are we supposed to tie this into acrimony for Lanisha?
I don't know, honestly. I don't think the writers did either. Take it away, Lanisha. I will meet John Stamos.
I pondered on what my very last segment should be. I thought of my beautiful sister, Taraji P. Henson. She is unaware that we are sisters. Anyway, Taraji is an American actress that has blessed our television screen since the movie Baby Boy. I want to talk about her latest film, Acrimony. I absolutely love the twist that unfolds in this film. I will not give away details because it is worth investing in. I love the film because Henson plays a devoted wife who is married to a man that is not so devoted to her. She takes care of him with the money she inherits from her deceased mother. The film goes into depth of how she feels betrayed by a man she thought was the love of her life while talking to a therapist. Once she finds out about the other woman, she seeks revenge. She goes into a deep pain of overwhelming emotions and attempts to get what belongs to her. She reveals mood swings, getting to the point of screaming and hitting. Henson plays with the morality of Tyler Perry's work, which is allowing good Christians to be rewarded for their good deeds and the bad people to get what they deserve. The twist is trying to figure which role Henson plays. Some people have had no views of the film. By the end of the film, the therapist asks Henson's character if she knows about people with borderline personality disorder before the screen goes black. Some would think Henson got what she deserved, but others wanted more. I would like you to judge the ending for yourself. I may still have a couple of questions, but I will figure it out when I get to see the movie again. I thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to be a part of The Real Deal. I have enjoyed every moment and it has been a blessing. I appreciate all the confidence I have gained in the people I have worked with. So again, I say thank you.
Thank you, Lanisha. We appreciate you more than you'll ever know.
Best of luck in your future, Lanisha. We all love you and can't wait to see where you land after this. Oh, and good luck next week, Eli, because you're going to need it.
I'm going to give you another black eye next week because I'm not going to die.
Well, that's what you think. We're about to go Hunger Games here on The Real Deal.
But that's next week. We'll be right back for our final word. We definitely don't give kids as much credit as they deserve these days. Kids have the ability to understand jokes, plot, and character development. So why do we keep creating stupid stuff for kids? First of all, Bizaardvark. I remember growing up watching Disney Channel and being overwhelmed by the amount of funny and creative content, but now it seems like they've kind of ran out of ideas. Because not only is Bizaardvark practically a remake of iCarly, an actual good show, but it has the most unfunny content of all time. And not only is it completely cringeworthy with its use of like outdated humor, featured Jake Paul for a while. And in this role, he literally just played like a caricature of himself that did stupid stuff on an online show called Dare Me Bro. I'm not saying kids don't have a right to find this stuff funny, but no creativity or originality goes into content like this. iCarly was original because nothing close to it had existed yet. But Disney took it upon themselves to make Bizaardvark, another show about two girls making online videos, and they did a worse job. But Disney isn't the only culprit here, unfortunately, and Nickelodeon has been guilty of creating some absolutely lazy content as well. Their current show, Game Shakers, has terrible reviews all around, yet it's still been around for 3 years. Game Shakers stars two kids who find success after making an iPhone app, and that's about it. Why are content creators so insistent on making their stuff about the digital world? Do they think kids will only be entertained if the show is about apps and YouTube videos? This explains failures like the Emoji Movie as well, because these creators have no idea how to relate to modern kids. Rather than try to adopt them, they think, oh, we'll just throw something about apps and smileys in there and the kids will surely like it. But these kids are way smarter than that, and channels like Cartoon Network are taking advantage of it. While other channels fail, Cartoon Network is releasing content like We Bare Bears, where 3 cartoon bears try to make it in a human-dominated world. This show is unique, genuinely funny, and for kids, which illustrates that it isn't impossible to make enjoyable content for children. Cartoon Network is also responsible for successes like Steven Universe, Regular Show, Adventure Time, and much more. They don't rely on trends and cliches to be successful. These creators come up with new and unique concepts instead.
Thank you, Eli. So, on a different note, Eli and I actually went to Frog Baby Film Festival the other day, this past Friday, alongside a few other Real Deal members. This is my first time going to the event, and I had a wonderful time and was genuinely floored by the talent put on display by our peers. I'm a strong believer that cultivating talent for young people is crucial for growing the entertainment industry, and I applaud Ball State for putting on this event and sparking the interest and passion of so many people. I don't want to overstay my welcome by listing off each and every film that was featured at the event, but I do feel the need to give the spotlight to my very favorites of the bunch and point everyone in their direction because they are super worthy of both views and praise, in my opinion. However, I admittedly get nervous going into details regarding the plots of these films, given that they're short films and there'll be a lot to spoil, but I will try and touch upon what makes them special and sort of their layout and their tone to see if it piques your interest. First off, the reason we even went to the event in full transparency was because we were supporting one of our crew members, Keely Jones, who actually wrote one of the short films titled Midnight Man. And although I'm very biased in saying this because I consider her a friend and we work with her, I mean it when I say Midnight Man was successful in everything that it set out to do. It was haunting, it was well acted, well directed, and very well written, genuinely. It was really the only film of its ilk and its tone to be on display at the event, and it got a super raucous reaction from the crowd, which speaks volumes to its performance. Additionally, I adored the fun and surprisingly emotional magic off the final act, which is actually the end of a trilogy that has aired each of its installments at previous Frog Baby Film Festivals. I hadn't seen the first two, in fact I still haven't seen them, but I intend to, because even without that context or that nostalgia, the film was impeccable at speaking volumes despite no dialogue. And its clever use of special effects and full range of emotions kept me engaged for its nearly 20-minute runtime, which is 4 hours in comparison to the other ones. I was floored by its sense of humor, and speaking of which, I was also floored by another short film centered around the Amazon Alexa or the Amazon Echo or whatever, and it had me audibly laughing numerous times. And then on the other hand, I would be remiss not to mention Light Switch, which absolutely dominated regarding awards received at the end of the night. It was outlandishly well choreographed and directed, especially for someone of our age and experience levels. If you're into like dark sort of sci-fi content, it's absolutely for you, and I definitely check it out. And finally, I want to give a massive shout out to the public service announcement shown at the festival, which was aptly titled No PSA. That is no as in I know, and no as in the opposite of yes. Like put together, it was a cute little play on words. The PSA regarded sexual assault awareness and how such horrific circumstances could affect anyone at any time. And it was remarkable in conveying its message. It was gorgeously constructed and overall very, very impactful. The PSA actually went on to receive the honor of being picked up by the No organization and will be used as an actual PSA for the organization. And it is well worthy of that, in my opinion. Oh, and lastly, but certainly not least important, the PSA was bolstered by an all-female crew, which is absolutely fantastic and hopefully worthy of a shout out, as well as being hopefully a shining example for more projects going forward. Now, there are a plethora of films that I didn't even touch that I adored at the festival. But then again, my job entails a few minutes on here, not a few hours, so that's all I'm going to give you today. What I will say, however, is that if you have the opportunity to go to any film festival of any shape or any size, I would highly, highly recommend it. It was an experience I was extremely happy to have had, and I will certainly return in the future. While these events may simply seem like a fun night out of watching films, which they certainly are that, there are also significant impacts for the creators of these projects, and they will make a world of difference in shaping the future of the entertainment industry that we know and love.
Thank you, Angelo. Now, as you may or may not know, next week is our season finale, which typically is completely insane. Yeah. So, while we have our wits about us, we figured it would be a good time to thank you for our time as hosts. Not only has working with Angelo been one of my favorite parts of being a Ball State student, but this year I've been able to see the whole organization grow and improve. I couldn't be more excited to see where the future takes this lovely show, and I'm honored to be a co-EP for The Real Deal next semester.
I couldn't agree more with what you say, Eli. With that being said, to the viewers, thank you so much, but also to everyone in that studio back there, thank you guys, the guys who have never seen or heard from. I see you guys back there. Thank you all so much. I love you all. You make us look a whole lot better than we actually are, and you know that. Amidst all of the jokes, this opportunity, these people in the show, it really means everything to me. I am exceptionally humbled every week to be part of this organization, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart when I say thank you to everyone. However, none of this would be possible without my partner in crime, my hostess with the mostest, Eli Brunsman. It's been a massive honor to sit alongside you. I know Brandon tried to take the chair out from under you a couple of times, but overall, it's been a blast that I wouldn't choose to share with anyone else, and I cannot wait to be co-executive producer with you. The road ahead for the show looks amazing, and we could not have gotten to the point where we are now without such incredible graduating seniors. Lanisha, this having been your last show, thank you so much again for everything. Next week, we will say goodbye to Brandon and Madison, as well as some lovely crew members who we'll shout out then. But as a whole, a sincere thank you to everyone. We've got a whole lot to look forward to, but first off, we've still got a season to finish. So, if you want more from The Real Deal, check our website, Facebook, and Twitter pages for news and updates on all things entertainment. I'm Angelo Oriema.
And I'm Eli Brunsman. We'll see you next time.